What is hell? It is an attempt by people to describe the most unbearable place where a person can be after a sinful life. This idea may have been created to scare people and make them more obedient. After all, hell is promised only to those who have sinned, right? But what if there was a mistake made in the heavenly office and they sent an entirely innocent person to hell? But that's not the point. Actually, I was interested in another question. Is it possible for hell to exist on earth with all its cruelty? And so, when I was 25 years old, I got the answer. The story took place in 2006. May 15, 2006. The evening gradually changed to night, and I was on the lake shore with my girlfriend Sarah. As the sun began to set, we were having a wonderful evening sitting in the car, and she was telling me a story about spending the weekend with relatives. I listened to Sarah, holding her hand, but suddenly I noticed that my thoughts went somewhere far away, and Sarah's story became a monotone noise. I was seized with great anxiety, and my head began to spin. Sarah turned to me worriedly and asked, "David, are you all right?" But her words were already blending into an indecipherable hum. It felt like my body was melting under the influence of a horse dose of sleeping pills. My eyes darkened, and Sarah's speech became less and less clear. I had to pull myself together, because I still had to drive, which meant that I had to be in a normal state. And then something strange happened. I began to hear the loud roar of the engine, as if we were on a freeway and a car was about to hit us. Everything froze for a moment, but then the engine sound suddenly disappeared and I felt perfectly fine. Sarah looked at me with frightened eyes. I wondered why I heard the engine roar. There were no cars nearby. Maybe it was my work, the anxious thoughts that crept in at the most inopportune moments. I tried to take my mind off those thoughts, Sarah wrapping her arms around my neck to kiss me. But instead of enjoying the moment, I kept thinking about what had happened. The kiss turned into a passionate embrace, but I was still preoccupied with my thoughts about the roar of the engine. I knew I should stop thinking about it and just enjoy what was happening now, but something was keeping me from relaxing. Passion gathers its momentum. My hands are blindly trying to find the right radio wave, and then, at a time when we should not interfere with anything, I again hear the sound of the engine. I open my eyes. I see the blinding light of the headlights behind Sarah. A moment, and the passenger seat is flown into the car at breakneck speed. I am thrown out of the driver's seat. Another moment, and darkness in my eyes. No more than 2 to 3 seconds have passed, but they lasted hours for me. I am lying on the ground realizing that I hit my head on a rock or something very hard, but I do not feel pain. "Sarah, what's wrong with Sarah?" Barely lifting my body, I head for the car, or rather what's left of it. My legs can barely move. I feel dizzy. In the cabin of the car lay the bloodied body of my girlfriend. My legs went limp. I fell right by the open door of my car. I wanted to scream, but I had no strength. I think I'm losing consciousness. How I want to believe that this is just a horrible dream. The whistling in my ears changed to that cursed sound of the engine. The killer car came in motion again. Backing out of the back of my car, the car headed toward me, blinding me with the bright light of its headlights. Not a scratch, not a dent. How is that possible? My heart sank. Now this car would kill me too. Morning, I opened my eyes in my hospital bed, my presence making the medical staff hiss. The look on their faces let me know that everything I was remembering now was not a delusion or a horrible dream, but reality in all its beauty. The first nurse offered me a drink of water. "What about Sarah? Is she alive?" The first thing I said when I came to my senses. "We're sorry, you were found at the scene of a terrible accident." At this point the second nurse interrupted. "The young man needs to rest," she said sternly, and then they both left. When I was alone I realized that there was no one behind the wheel of the car that killed Sarah. No one. How is that possible?